Okay, so I know today's topic something that isn't really new, but I think it's still important to keep talking about it because I think that's kind of going to be the only way we're ever really going to see any sort of big changes, not just with Halo Infinite, but with gaming as a whole. So, for those of you that don't know, I very much have a love-hate relationship with this game, and that I was so excited for Infinite whenever it first came out. I've traditionally always been a huge Halo fan. However, at this point in time, 343, I think the only thing that I have positive to say about them is I think they would be fantastic pallbearers at my funeral. Just that way they can let me down one last time. So recently I did get back into Halo, and that mostly because one of my friends told me that this playlist here had finally been added. Firefight Classic, something that me and a couple of my buddies, we always used to play to absolute death, especially in Halo Reach and even some of the Warzone variant within Halo 5. So I was very excited to see this come in because I knew this is a playlist where some of my other friends who aren't necessarily as good at Halo, they're not going to get dicked around with skill-based matchmaking. So I thought this would be something that we could all kind of come back together and enjoy. But as always, I feel like every time there's something good that happens with this game, and that there's always something that's not so great. And that's the store. So for starters, as you can see right here, there were some Halo 5 cosmetics released. I guess with this current battle pass, it's kind of a throwback to Halo 5 and Blue Team in that. But the one thing that I want to point out here real quick is this is 3,900 Spartan credits. So just real quick here, let's take a look at what that comes to. And by the way, this is in US dollars. I know that it's going to be different depending on where you're at in the world. But that being said, for 3 skins, you're spending almost $40. And one thing I do want to throw out is, yes, I understand the multiplayer to this game was free. However, Halo has always been one of those series where I feel like there's a lot of people that are very passionate about the campaign, myself included, and I am just saying that 3 skins, and I'm going to get a little bit more into it because I'm not very happy with this, is not worth 2/3 of the price I paid for this full game. To me, this is just absolutely abysmal. Now, if you do want to collect Blue Team, this is unfortunately the way to go because, as you can see, if you want to buy this, or if you want to just get all 3 of them individually, I don't know why you wouldn't go with the package deal. You're going to be spending even more. So at this point, you're looking at, let's see here, just about $60 if you don't buy the special here. So actually, I mean, you are saving $20. That is, I guess, one hell of a deal. However, stuff in the shop, it's always been a little pricey. It's gotten to the point where I don't think it's fair to call them microtransactions anymore. They're just flat out full on transactions. But the other thing that I want to throw out too, though, is the armor sets in here are just absolutely abysmal. Like many of you out there, I'm sure you were excited whenever the original Infinite trailer dropped. I know 343's art direction with Halo 4 and Halo 5 received a lot of mixed reviews. And like most people, whenever I saw kind of that more classic Master Chief coming back, I was very excited. But I will say that this game has some of the just most abysmal freaking armor pieces I have ever seen. So I am streaming this on Twitch, so I can't throw anything up to compare it to, but I would just say pull up Google quick and look at the Halo 5 rendition of Blue Team in that. These armor pieces, outside of Master Chief, which actually looks okay in that, these are just abysmal. And yes, they are in the spirit of what like Linda, Fred, and Kelly looked like. However, this is not a one-to-one of what those characters look like. And I'm not going to lie, to me, that's kind of extremely upsetting. For starters, you know, you're already paying at minimum $20. Like, if you're a big Kelly fan, like I personally am, really loved her in like The Fall of Reach and some of the other books like First Strike in that. If you wanted to recreate her armor in here, they didn't even put forth the time and effort to make it accurate to what it even looked like in Halo 5. And this is what this whole cosmetic set is supposed to be a throwback to. Again, Master Chief here, his armor pieces, they look reasonable. Yes, I know this is a little upgrade to it, which I really don't have an issue with. But the other thing I'll throw out too is like, we don't even really necessarily, or if you buy this, you don't even technically get the correct shoulder pads for him, because let me just pull this up here real quick. The original Halo 5 shoulder pads, they were actually already released a while ago, and we just got to skip all the way here. And by the way, most of this stuff here in that, unlike previous Halo games, I know this is a complaint that a lot of people have talked about in that, you know, back when you used to be able to earn stuff in game, or, you know, microtransactions were truly micro. Most of this stuff here and that is just stuff that you have to buy from the store, anywhere between like $10 to $30. But let's see if we can find it here, because I do want to throw this out. It is in here. There we go. But so this was the actual like Halo 4, Halo 5 shoulder pieces. So even if you buy, you know, the Halo 5 Master Chief armor set, they've actually kind of dicked you around, because you're still going to have to go out. And of course, you're going to have to purchase it for, you know, just about $20 just to have the actual accurate shoulder pieces. The worst part about this is that 343 acknowledges this. And they know, as they've kind of self-admitted, that they have purposefully upped the price purely because they know people are gonna buy it. And it would be one thing if they were going to up the price and there was actually going to be like a lot of quality stuff that's added. But when you can't even recreate the characters that you're trying to me, that's just absolutely pathetic. And then to not only mess up the designs that you're trying to go for, at least they have like the colors mostly correct, but they've completely screwed up the armor, and then they upcharge you for it. And just real quick in that, it's not like this is something that they couldn't do, by the way, because as you can see here, Halo 1 Master Chief looks just fine. Yes, I know I'm ranting about transactions here, and I did buy this. I had some leftover Spartan points from one of the last battle passes that they still gave them out, and I had just like a couple extra bucks to spend. So whenever I bought this particular thing, it was already on sale, so I really didn't have to spend all that much on it. That's why I picked it up. And again, Halo 2 Master Chief looks perfectly fine. Just to even throw it out here, we've got Carter, all of Noble Team. All of Noble Team looks perfectly fine. Yes, granted, with like George and that, they did have to scale down like dimensions, stuff like that. But it all is essentially like a one-to-one recreation. Like these do look, or yeah, these armor kits very much do look like Noble Team. And don't get me wrong, one of my gripes about the kits has always been like, you can't really customize them a whole lot. So if you don't like what you have, you know, you're going to be kind of upset. It is cool that you can use these armor pieces individually, but again, they've been able to recreate prior characters and their armor, and for something that's themed with Blue Team here, they somehow messed it up and then have the audacity to upcharge you on it. The other thing too is I'm not gonna lie, once again, the battle pass, like most of this is, well, let's just check it out here. Yeah, so again, the regular battle pass, so maybe it's only $5 in that, but for $5 you get this skin. That's literally it, $5 just for this armor coating. And I'm not gonna lie, the armor coating stuff in that here is just absolutely ridiculous. For a series that's always been pretty fair to customization, I know there have been Halo 5 was kind of its own thing in that there was a lot of controversy with that, rightfully so, especially coming off of Halo 4, which did have a fair bit of customization options. At least we never lost the ability to pick our color. Like, you didn't actually have to pay money to use the color that you wanted. And the fact that if you do decide to buy this battle pass, really you're just getting this armor coating. You do get an emblem, you do get Spartan points, but outside of that, I mean, they have Kelly's armor in here, but again, it doesn't really look that good. It doesn't look like what it did in Halo 5. At least this one's free, so like I'm really not as upset by it. But it's still just the fact, though, that if you're going to, dedicate an entire battle pass season, whatever you want to call it at this point, at least have the care to actually get the characters correct. Especially if you're just going to start upcharging shit, which, again, this is a franchise where a lot of people do go out and buy a physical copy of the game. I mean, let's be honest, we didn't know the multiplayer was going to be free right up until probably a lot of people already had this game pre-ordered. So you already had a lot of people sink $60 into this, and we're still seeing stuff like this in the shop. To me, it's just mind-blowing. And again, like, if these were really, really small transactions, I probably wouldn't be as upset, especially if we could earn more decent stuff in the game. Like, I wouldn't be as upset by this. Hey, do whatever you need to do. If this is what helps bring in some extra money to fund the next project, whatever, fine. Hey, if people want to go out, you can spend your money however you want to. I personally don't care. But I do just think, though, that at this point, buying into this stuff is only fueling their greed, and unfortunately, it's just kind of hurting gaming as a whole. Again, this is not a 343 problem or strictly a Halo problem. It's, at this point, gaming as a whole. But the other gripe that I have is, well, they did add the exchange here, which I do like, because you now do have actual in-game currency that you can use to buy stuff with, which is nice, because you can unlock from time to time some pretty decent stuff. One thing that I just absolutely cannot fathom is why not just show me everything that's available in the exchange? Because they keep updating it. And so if you're like me, somebody who's like, hey, I grinded this game for a little bit, now I need a break. And then maybe you come back a month or two later, and maybe you've missed some of the stuff that's in the exchange. The only way that you can do it and figure out what you missed is you essentially have to go to the customization stuff. And unless you can fully remember, or you looked it up online, whatever it is, where it tells you right down there, you essentially have to look at all. So let's go over to another one here. And again, this is just a small little quality of life thing that they could have done that I don't think would have much of an issue here. Again, so down at the bottom left, as we can see, available for purchase. Takes you to the store. This one here is Spartan points, but there's no way to indicate that over this one here that you have to spend real money for. You have to sit there and comb through all of this stuff just to see if there's anything that you can spend your Spartan points on, if you missed it while it was in the exchange. Other than stuff that's actively being sold inside the store at this point, or if it's part of a battle pass that's maybe over, that's the only indicator you get. Other than that, you just have to comb through each individual thing. And as you can see, there's a lot of them. And there's also stuff that's unique to individual armor cores. I'm sure there's probably some customization pieces that I missed that, hey, I would love to have, but I don't have the time to sit there and comb through every little thing. And I'm going to be honest, that's the thing, right? Is like, for me, sure, yes, they brought back Firefight Classic. I'm super happy that I can once again enjoy this game with some of my friends, especially because the skill-based making in here, and in most games, is just stupid. I don't want to come home from work and then sweat my ass off playing. I just want to be able to kick back, relax. Big team battle used to be something that we could just fire up, shut our brains off, have a good time. For the most part, here and there, yeah, you would have you would have a challenging match, but for the most part, everybody was going to have a relatively good night, unless you were just getting stomped completely an entire night. But that was very rare, especially, looking at like Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, even Halo 4 and Reach. Like, that just wasn't something that happened. Now, granted, when Halo 5 was out, I was still kind of in that, not my teenage years, but I wasn't that much older, so I was still okay with sweating it out and stuff. But, the skill-based matchmaking in there definitely had been cranked up. And now it's just to the point where anymore, it's such a struggle. Like, they have all this stuff here that it's like, a couple of years ago, or maybe in a different Halo game, I'd love to play this. This would probably be a game that I wouldn't have put down since it came out, but I just feel with the way things are and that, I don't know. It's just almost depressing. Like, every time I feel that I see something that I do like I said, Firefight Classic, super happy that it's finally here in the game. And shout out to the forgers in that, because of course, the people over at 343 didn't give us to us. It was all the community that's, let's be honest, the community has done most of the cool shit for this game at this point. But they were the ones that brought it to us. And this is something that, should have been year 1, maybe year 2 in that. And I know there's like a lot of internal stuff that goes on, but when people are paying money for a product in that, and you're continuing to just pump out, microtransaction stuff like that. People can sit there and bust their butts all day on microtransaction stuff, but giving something to have the players actually return to for the game, people can't do that. It just feels like all their time and effort is here in the shop and that. And again, I just know that for me personally, this is just going to be a cycle of where I'm going to get my fun out with Firefight Classic. In all honesty, as soon as the new Space Marine 2 update comes out, I'm jumping right back over to that to grind that out, because I can consistently have fun with that. It gives me something to look forward to. And unfortunately, I feel like that's kind of a rare thing nowadays. That's why I've been kind of a huge advocate for that game, is because it's just genuinely fun. And this is a game too where, like I said, I grew up on this. This was the game that made me buy the OG Xbox. I mean, before my family even had like DSL internet or high speed internet, like when I was still on dial-up, I remember playing Halo 1 on PC, and that, like, that's how much I love this series. And yeah, just now that I'm playing it again and I see just the constant state that the new stuff's at, it just not good. But that's my rant here for that. So we're going to jump into some Firefight, but just wanted to throw that out there to people. Like I said, I think it's something important that we at least talk about. It's got to stay in the discussion, otherwise stuff like this is just gonna keep happening.